Hello guys, Charles here and welcome back to my channel. So this lesson is for anyone who wants to improve their knowledge of the modes of the major scale and develop their ability to recognise them. We're going to be taking the simple nursery rhyme Bar Bar Black Sheep and modifying the note to reinterpret the tune through all 7 modes of the major scale. I chose this tune as I'm sure it's a familiar melody to most of you, but more importantly it contains all 7 degrees of the major scale in the first 4 bars alone. Modes have been around for centuries, used in traditional folk music and church music all around the world. Nowadays, modes are primarily used in modal composition, as the name suggests, with Miles Davis's 1959 album Kind of Blue often regarded as the seminal work in the modal jazz genre. So Kind of Blue is certainly not a bad place to start. In more traditional tonal compositions, many players will discuss modes, however they're more likely to focus on the shared key centre between the chords of the piece, rather than assigning one mode per chord. Just before we dive into the modes, I'd like to highlight the 3 important points which I hope you'll take away from this lesson. Firstly, although the modes can be an exciting area of study, you'll most likely find that their application is limited without first having an excellent grasp of the traditional Western scales. I've had many of my own students quiz me about their confusion surrounding the modes, knowing full well that they still don't know how to play their major scale. If you don't yet know your scales confidently, don't worry, we discussed 3 essential methods of navigating the major scale in my major mastery video, which you can see up here. Secondly, you must be able to define the altered degrees of the mode when compared to the major scale. You'll hear me explaining each mode as a sharp 4, a flat 7 and so on. These definitions tell us the only changes we need to make to the major scale to create that specific mode. So ensure that you are confident with the degrees of the major scale and that you commit the required alterations of each mode to memory so that you can better see the comparison between them all. Thirdly, as with most musical concepts, modes are intended to solicit a specific emotional response from the listener. Take the time to notice how the mood of a melody changes in response to a change of mode. It can be difficult to specify each unique feeling, and there will certainly be some overlap between several of the modes. But simply thinking about how each mode makes you feel will inevitably improve your musical conversation with the audience, enabling you to better understand their feedback. So what is a mode? Let's take a 7-letter word like sausage. By assigning a number 1 through 7 to each letter of the word and always keeping the letters in the same order, it becomes very easy to see how the word has been rotated into a new mode. So starting on the first letter of the word, S, would be the first mode. The second letter of the word, A, the second mode. The third letter of the word, U, the third mode, and so on. If I remove the numbers, see if you can figure out which mode of the word sausage this example is. If you said mode 5, you are correct. If you said mode 4, which is the most common mistake, then you forgot that the original word was mode 1. There is no mode 0. Be aware of how much more difficult recognising those modes would be if you didn't know the word sausage. This is the equivalent of trying to understand the modes without knowing the parent scale they came from, usually major scale, harmonic minor scale, or melodic minor scale. So if we now look at the notes of the C major scale and number them 1 through 7, hopefully the comparison seems quite clear. Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3, and so on. That's all that a mode is, taking the notes of a scale which we are very comfortable with and rotating them so that they start on a different degree of the original structure. Finally, we add a strange sounding Greek name to each one of these rotations or modes, and that's it. So firstly, take some time to write down some major scales and then write out all 7 rotations of each one. This will help you to better understand major scales and how to apply the concept of the modes to it. Now let's hear how each mode affects the mood of our nursery rhyme. We're going to start by hearing the original tune in the key of C major, and then we'll go through each mode built from a common root of C, moving from the most sharpened to the most flattened, which is the method taught by jazz vibraphonist and Berkeley educator Gary Burton. The Lydian mode, sharp 4. The Lydian mode has a very bright, almost angelic sound to it. It's the only sharpened mode having a raised fourth. If we look at the notation, we can see that we are in the key of 1 sharp, G major, and therefore C Lydian is the 4th mode of that parent scale G major. G, A, B, C. So the second brightest mode is the Ionian. Ionian is the modal name for the normal major scale. To Western listeners, it has a very normal or neutral sound because we're so used to hearing it. It has no sharpened notes and no flattened notes, so we're in the key of C major, and therefore the Ionian mode is mode number 1. The Mixolydian flat 7. The Mixolydian mode is often associated with heroism and epicness, whilst being slightly cooler than the bog standard major scale due to the flattened 7th. We're in the key of 1 flat, which is F major, and therefore C Mixolydian is the 5th mode of that parent scale F. F, G, A, B flat, C. Dorian, flat 3, flat 7. A very cool sound often used for 1 chord jazz vamps. The Dorian mode has a flattened 3rd, making it a minor scale, and the flattened 7th lending a bit of cool and sophistication. We are in the key of 2 flats, which is B flat major, and therefore C Dorian is the 2nd mode of B flat major. B flat, C. Aeolian, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. The Aeolian mode begins to take things in a sadder direction, a favourite of folk musicians with a sad story to tell. This mode has a flat 3, a flat 6, which is responsible for the sorrow of this mode, and the flat 7. We're in the key of 3 flats, which is E flat major, and therefore C Aeolian is the 6th mode of E flat major. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. Phrygian, flat 2, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. Most commonly used to evoke the image of a lonely and sorrowful Spanish guitarist in spaghetti westerns and classical guitar concertos. The mode has the essential flat 2 to create that Spanish sound world, the flat 3, the flat 6 and the flat 7. We are in the key of 4 flats, A flat major, and therefore C Phrygian is the 3rd mode of the A flat major scale. A flat, B flat, C. Locrian, flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. The Locrian mode is probably the least commonly used of all the 7 modes of the major scale. It contains the flat 2, the flat 3, the flat 5, which is responsible for the dark, diminished sound world, the flat 6th, and the flattened 7th. We're in the key of 5 flats, D flat major, and therefore C Locrian is the 7th mode in the key of D flat major. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C. So hopefully this video has helped you on your journey to better understanding the modes. These concepts take a lot of time to become comfortable with, but remember to focus on your major scale, harmonic minor scale, melodic minor scale and their key signatures as a priority. Also try to remember the alterations of each mode when compared to the major scale and the mood that each one evokes for you. If you'd like to see further discussions about the modes and modal harmony, then click up here to see some of my other videos on the topic. Let me know down below any queries regarding the modes. And do share with us any other approaches or advice which you've found helpful for increasing your modal confidence. Finally, do please give this video a like, subscribe, ding the notification bell, and share this video with any of your friends who you think might find this subject helpful. I hope you're all doing very well and managing to get plenty of practice in, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.
Roll up, let me embed a story you'll never forget. A drip, drip, we're drowning in debt now. You can't buy your way out. And